Greetings gamers, Agent SN, and welcome to another video, and we are back with a new top 10. Now I don't think I've done an original console top 10 in a long time, so here we are. So, the Nintendo 64. The Nintendo 64 was an interesting Nintendo console, as it was... It was a good console, it had some good graphics for the time. However, it was way less powerful compared to the PlayStation because the PlayStation used CDs while Nintendo stuck with cartridges to avoid piracy, since that's what Nintendo was worried about. Anyway though, the Nintendo 64 was not one of my favorite game consoles. Well, it's not one of my favorites. It is a pretty good console, and it has some very solid games on it, and many good games that hold up today. So yeah. So without further ado, let's get into my top 10 Nintendo 64 games. In 3, 2, 1. Alright, just starting off the list, we have Donkey Kong 64. Back in the 90s, well, more specifically, the late 90s, there was a big boom of 3D platformers. Super Mario 64, Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, Glover, I'm trying to think what else, Sonic Adventure, BanjoKazooie, and one of those was Donkey Kong 64. Donkey Kong 64 is a very solid and fun game, and probably one of the most unique Donkey Kong games out there, since it's the only one that's in full 3D. And this game is actually is actually a big game that has a lot of things to collect. And this game is one of those collectathon 3D platformer games, and there were a lot of them around the time this game was released in 1999. And there is just so much to do with this game, and there's even so many Kongs you can play at. There's Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Chunky Kong, Lanky Kong, etc. And Tiny Kong. Yeah, there's the whole Kong crew, and each of them are very unique in a way, and they have their own special things. And that's really cool. There's also a lot of variety with the areas you can go through in this game, which is overall really good. So yeah, Donkey Kong 64 is a very fun game, and definitely one of the best platformers on the N64. And I definitely hope we get a 3D Donkey Kong game on the Switch. Super Smash Bros. Is one of Nintendo's biggest series out there. And with Smash Ultimate, there is now a huge, massive list of characters to play as, and there's now 90 characters in Smash Ultimate. However, long before that, 20 years before that game, the series began on the N64 with Super Smash Bros. On the N64. Super Smash Bros. On N64 is a very fun game. It had a lot... Well, it doesn't have a huge amount of content compared to the rest of the series, like Melee, Brawl, 4, or Ultimate. But this game overall, there's a lot of cool stages to play through, and this game also has the classic single player mode that returned in the series as classic mode. And it even featured the board the platform stage that never came back in the rest of the game. So yeah, Super Smash Bros. On N64 is overall very solid, although it is sad that it never came to the Wii U Virtual Console. But please bring it to NSO and Nintendo. Alright, so next up we have Mario Kart 64. Mario Kart 64 is by far one of the most revolutionary Mario Kart games, mainly because it's the first one to bring the series into 3D graphics, which was very cool at the time. So yeah, Mario Kart 64 is a very solid game with, and it actually has a lot of really good tracks, and some of these tracks are probably some of the best Mario Kart tracks out there. And yeah, this game overall has a pretty good character selection as well, and there's a lot of variety with the tracks. Well, it's not my favorite track selection, and that goes to Mario Kart DS. Mario Kart 64 is very solid, and it has a cool cast of characters, definitely. So, yeah. And it definitely holds up 25 years later. So, yeah. Well, there is a better racing game on the N64 that we're going to talk about later in this video. Mario Kart 64 is overall definitely a must-play on the Nintendo 64. The Nintendo 64's main gimmick was the 3D, as it was the first Nintendo console to have 3D graphics to it. So there wasn't really a lot of 2D platformers on it, but there was one great one, and that is Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards. This game is by far one of the best Kirby games. And this one also has a really cool gimmick where you can combine two copy abilities, and that is honestly really cool, and really nice, definitely. So yeah. And the graphics in this game are actually pretty good, and it might be one of the best looking N64 games. And the levels have so much fun and so much variety to it. And this game is easily one of the best Kirby games, and while I would have preferred a 3D Kirby game for the N64, what we have here is still really good, and I'm very excited for Kirby the Forgotten Land on the Switch next month. But yeah, Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards is a really interesting game with a lot of really nice characters, some cool copy abilities with it, and yeah. It's honestly a shame that I never finished this game because it is so good. So let's get on to number 6. Alright, next up we have Star Fox 64. Star Fox 64 is probably the shortest game on this list, as it's actually possible to beat it in one sitting. However, the game is very fun, and there's actually multiple routes you can go through when playing this game, which is definitely really interesting. And it's by far the best Star Fox game, and it makes me wish there was a new Star Fox game on the Switch, now that it's been 6 years almost since Zero, which was decent and kind of underrated. Anyway though, Star Fox 64 is overall a game that definitely holds up to this day, and easily probably the best Star Fox game, and the gameplay is so much fun, and there's a lot of variety with the worlds that you, with all the planets that you can go through. So yeah, this is by far another must-play on the console. Although I'd prefer that you play Star Fox 64 3D on the 3DS. But now let's get on to next game on this list. Alright, next up we have the best racing game on the console, and probably one of my favorite racing games of all time. And that is Diddy Kong Racing. Diddy Kong Racing is by far one of the most fun, one of the most unique, and also one of the best racing games that I've ever played. This game is timeless, there's so much fun to it. And all the tracks are so much fun to go through, and the fact that there's multiple kinds of vehicles, like you can drive in a boat or a plane or in a kart, that is really cool, definitely. And there's also a full-blown adventure mode, which is really great. And this game is by far so much fun, and the the adventure mode is probably my favorite part of the game. So yeah, this game, yeah, so much replay value to it. This is probably one of the most replayable N64 games. And it's honestly a shame that it hasn't been re-released at all. And the reason why it hasn't is because it has Banjo and Conquer in it before they even got their own games. But the reason why this game hasn't been re-released is because Microsoft bought Rare. So that's why you don't see this game on the Wii, Wii U, Virtual Console. So although it could come to Switch now because BanjoKazooie got on Switch and Banjo Smash Bros. Anyway, though, Diddy Kong Racing is such a fun game and I highly recommend it. Now there's also a DS remake as well, but I've never played it. I've never played the DS remake, but I have played this, and it is so much fun, definitely, and by far one of the best games on the console. Let's get on to number 4. Alright, next up we have a game that pretty much, I don't think it needs any introduction, because it's Super Mario 64, a game that you've probably heard praise for a billion times. So yeah, and it's by far probably one of the best Mario games. Now Super Mario 64 is a very solid game, and yeah, and it was also one of those innovated, obviously, and this is what many 3D games strive to be. While it's not my favorite game from the 5th generation, it is a very fun game, and it still has so much to it, for sure. And yeah, and come on, it's Mario 64. What else do I need to say? So yeah, and the game has so much replay value to it, and there's definitely a lot of content to this. Especially when you get all 120 stars and you get to go up on top of Peach's castle to find Yoshi. And now this game, just like Donkey Kong, just like Diddy Kong Racing, this game also has a DS remake, which is even better. And it's actually also a director's cut that adds even more, but I'm going to save that for when I make top 10 DS games whenever I do. Anyway though, now unlike Diddy Kong Racing's remake on the DS, I have played Super Mario 64 DS. Anyway though, this is Mario 64, what else do I need to say? Let's just go on to number 3. The Nintendo 64 is a console that unfortunately did not have that many RPGs, as most RPGs during that generation went to PlayStation instead due to it being way more powerful. Anyway though, the N64 did have, it had 3 notable RPGs. It had N64, which a lot of people say is terrible, and there's also Ogre Battle 64, which I've heard is good, although I've never played it myself. The one that I have played, and a great one that I've played, is Paper Mario. Paper Mario is a really great game, and it actually was originally planned as a sequel to Super Mario RPG, but due to issues with Square Enix, Intelligent Systems, the development team behind the Fire Emblem games, decided to change it up and make it Paper Mario instead. But anyway though, despite that change, this game still was really great and it did not disappoint. The battle system is so good, and the game honestly might be one of the best looking games on the N64. It was a late game on the N64, with it being released in late 2000 in Japan and early 2001 in North America and rest of the world, I think. But this game is a really enjoyable game that actually has a really interesting story, with Bowser stealing the Star Rod and going up into space with Peach's castle, and all the party members are actually really interesting, and each of the worlds are too. So yeah, overall this game is a must play on the N64. It's been released already on the Wii Virtual Console, the Wii U Virtual Console, and it's also on Nintendo Switch Online with the expansion pack. So yeah, this game is a game that you cannot miss because it is a masterpiece and definitely one of the best Mario RPGs. Definitely one of the best ones of the golden age of Paper Mario. So yeah, now let's go on to number 2. Like I said early on in this video, the Nintendo 64 had a ton of 3D platformers. And my favorite one of these is actually not one game, but 2 games. That is the BanjoKazooie series. The BanjoKazooie series is by far one of my favorite platforming series out there. The first 2 games on the N64, BanjoKazooie and its direct sequel, BanjoTooie, are also some must-plays on the console. And definitely the best things I've played from Rare. Both games are so much fun, and they actually have a lot of good content and collectibles, which is very fun for this game, and really great. And all the locations in this game are actually interesting, and they have a lot of good variety to them, with one of them being the snow world, and another being an island, and a desert place, and the level design is so much fun, and probably the best part of this game. And with it being more of a, with having a bit of a more open world kind of style with it, or explore each world freely, basically, it's really nice. So yeah, and it's actually very fun collecting the Jiggies, and that's really cool. And all of Banjo's and Kazooie's abilities are all really interesting. So yeah. Anyway though, now let's get on to our honorable mention before we hit number 1. Alright, I know that this is a top 10, not a top 11, but I just wanted to talk about the Mario Party games on the N64. While I haven't played much of the recent Mario Party games, I love the N64 and GameCube Mario Party games, and they're so much fun. I have a lot of memories with the GameCube ones, but the N64 ones are very fun too, and some of the best in the series. Now, out of them, I'd say my favorite one is Mario Party 3, but all 3 are so much fun, and all the boards, they actually have lots of variety to them, which is really cool, and there's also some fun mini-games. The mini-games are classic and so much fun, and they're so good, and a lot of them returned in Mario Party Superstars recently on the Switch, which I haven't played yet, but I've heard it's pretty good. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about these for a minute, but the Mario Party games of the N64 are really good. It's honestly a shame that Hudson Soft is gone, because they were really good. So yeah, but now let's get on to number 1. Once again, just like Mario 64, at number 1, here we have a game that needs no introduction because it is so critically praised, and you've probably heard about it a ton already, but seriously. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I mean, come on. It is by far one of the best games from Nintendo, and probably one of the... Well, actually, it is one of the best Zelda games. It's also very innovative for the time, too, but the game still holds up today with a really great story, and this game probably has one of my favorite versions of Hyrule, and it's honestly really cool, and yeah. And there's also so much variety with this. All the dungeons are cool, and the world is very nice. This game brought so many good lore for the Zelda series. This game is a masterpiece. It still is. It always was, and always will be. And there's a reason why it's so critically praised, and why it's also the highest scored game on Metacritic. with a score of 99. So yeah, that's it for this video though. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next time. Agent S out.